Hey everybody, this is WALEED Usman. As Sean gave a very quick intro, I'm the project manager with North American Steel, located in the Whitby head office in Ontario. We'll be discussing briefly about what it takes, or what are the key parameters to think in the mind while a customer or a client or a consultant would be considering to select or finalize a racking partner or to proceed with that. In the next slide, I'll show you a couple of points that actually we have written down for you guys. The number one is that, especially for it applies to the greenfield construction whenever a small or a medium or a large scale warehouse is being built or even is being initiated in the planning stages. Go with a firm that actually provides a turnkey solution. It starts from the initiation to the implementation towards the project closing documentation. You want to go with that because of a couple of reasons. Number one is that the firm understands how many stakeholders are there. They want to make sure like each and every person, each and every company agrees and they understand that the type of the customized design that you're offering for the customer will not interfere with any other trades or any other problems. So in one room, you have a racking supplier that is also working with the consultants directly, that is working with electricians, sprinklers, slab engineers, all these subcontractors as well, from the beginning till the very end when the permits gets closed. You also want to select a partner that actually has a really vast presence in not only in the location where you are building the project, but also like in the locations where you'll be planning to expand that. Let's say if you plan one project out in Calgary, you want to expand another asset in Ontario, the standards pretty much in nowadays are set. The guidelines are set by a customer. They want one particular type of the system for this type of the products that they want to implement throughout North American region or worldwide, wherever their presence are. So one particular partner will allow you guys to service them, will allow the customer as well to get the same type of product and in a better lead time and have also a positive relationship in the end of the day as well. The third thing is that also the partner has a complete in-house design and engineering capabilities. They're not subcontracting that part out because again, you want to make sure that the engineering and design that is being done for the customized solution or the customized product lines that are being applied in the type of the product that the customer is using is tailor-made. And everything is obviously comes at expense, but that expense is minimal for the customer that who has to pay in times nowadays where the steel prices suddenly goes out of hand. You want to make sure that the type of the design is efficient and effective. The most critical thing is the manufacturing capacity, the capability of a manufacturer, how much can they supply, how big of a warehouse can they even sustain or not. Fortunate for us as well, as Sean mentioned in the last slides, we are fortunate to actually own internally more than 400,000 square feet of manufacturing and distribution facility throughout Canada. So what that allows us to do is service our customers, to allow us to install them, to do all the projects from coast to coast. And that also helps us get the projects out in the States as well. Also, the lead times actually gets dictated by that. As projects obviously get increased, the lead times goes higher, but since having these big manufacturing and distribution centers, we actually can bring them down and also can stock them on basic components, which actually can be available in our quick ship inventory program. One of the most critical things that many of the companies don't really rely upon and don't really think is sustainability. This is one of the really key components that actually really comes into play. At North American, we are fortunate to be one of the ISNET members as well that not only provide a contractor safety and also rely upon having the material availability in a sustainable way. All the manufacturing processes that we have in our house are try to use the minimum amount of carbon footprint. We have developed high-tech processes, robotic welding to try to make sure that it is as much as of a lean manufacturing, less amount of wastage as well. Ultimately, obviously more gain for the company and happy customer in the end of the day. The other sustainability measures that we actually have in place as well is what I would like to call is components from components. So if there's a one component that we, let's say a beam bracket, although it sounds like a minor thing, but the beam safety pins actually gets extracted from the same bracket. So you have one component, but you're trying to extract the another one from the same one, try to reuse the material. One of the facilities out in Mississauga is solely working on recycling and reusing the material. So they get the used material, they cut it depending on the type of the needs, whatever the new customer wants, and they extract that items and they reuse them. So trying to have all these strict measures to help us out in successfully in the next days to come actually is one of the really key components that you got to watch for and see like if that particular firm is really applying these measures in the company or not. Next slide, Sean. So design and permitting, what are the key considerations that a company or a consultant should keep in mind while reaching so now you have reached a manufacturer, what next? Like you want to initiate the design, you want to start you want to start thinking about the processes and what it takes, what are the key checklist items. The number one thing is, other than the plan and the CAD files that you'll send, is that you want to give the criticalness of the warehouse, the importance of it. I'm not talking about the customer, but it's more like importance of, is that the facility going to help the rescue team, going to help the hospitals? Is that a medical supply company? How critical it is to have that made. Along with that comes the seismic consideration as well. You want to make sure that the building is being built seismically considered in a location which is a high seismic region. These key details comes directly from the consultants and the customers themselves, for which they actually bring up the geotechnical report, which allows us to use and extract a lot of key information to help us for the design. The next thing is that we choose the product line. Depends on the products. Some products are obviously small, medium, large, bulky items, or even the floor storage. We tailor make the products depend on the type. We tailor make the product line depends on the products. And in the same facility warehouse, we might even have 4 or 5 different type of system that we'll be applying with. Again, depends on the SKU counts. What is the type of the inventory coming in and out? Everything counts over here. So again, there's a whole system and we get in place of that and we try to design and move along accordingly. Now, after selecting these product lines, you want to try to have them designed as a cost-effective manner. So here the engineering and design comes into place. You want to engineer and design it so well that obviously the cost component will not come and be a big player in the end of the day. One of the most critical thing is the coordination with the key stakeholders. After we complete the design and process, we send the same files, we send the same details over to the other people, for example, electrical, sprinkler, slab engineer, and they make sure that their particular part of the items are not being interfered, or for example, slab in our case can actually hold the amount of the post loads that we actually have designed for. So we fortunately have the turnkey system implemented in our firm. We applied from the start till the end, and we try to make sure like all the stakeholders are informed rightly on time so that we can all have a perfect warehouse solution in the end of the day. The finally, it comes down to the permits and the checklist. Once everything is finalized, we go ahead and apply for the city's permit documentation. The city usually sometimes requests us to only complete one final inspection, but they can also come and they can say, depending on municipality, to have an initial inspection along with a midway inspection as well, if the customer wants a partial one done. The inspections, the permit checklist, the closing documentation, these are the final steps as well that come into play, although the permits application comes in the very beginning of the part. Once the project gets completed, we prepare an as-built version of the drawings, which has all the modifications, all the changes, pluses and minuses that we have done throughout the implementation part of the project. We update that, we provide the copies to the customer, to the consultants, to the cities as well, and off we go with that. So these all steps are one of the really critical points that one has to consider in the design, engineering, and also like after we have selected a partner, that how well they can be well versed with.